Yo, I'm ready to invest. I have money to invest. Can someone tell me where to invest this? Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. In this video, we're going to be talking about investing in Pag-IBIG MP2. It's probably one of the safest and most underrated forms of investments that's perfect for beginners, students, or anyone looking to diversify their portfolio. The best part? You only need 500 pesos to start. Yeah! What's up, friends? Welcome back to this week's video. If you're new here, what's up? My name's Nicole and I make weekly videos on personal finance, investing, and sometimes I do things on other stuff too. This has been such a heavily requested video. You guys have been asking me to make a video on Pag-IBIG for such a long time, and I'm hyped to finally be talking about it. Woo! I'm expecting that this is going to be kind of a long video, so here's how I want to structure it. First, we're going to talk about the what. What is Pag-IBIG? Not this Pag-IBIG. This Pag-IBIG. Yeah, the government one. Second, we're going to talk about why. Or more specifically, why should you invest in Pag-IBIG MP2? Like, what's in it for you? What's so good about it? And third, we're going to talk about how. I always say that action is the most important thing. Like, you can watch all the videos that you want, read all the articles you think you can, but at the end of the day, if you never take action, then So yeah, we're going to talk about how you can start investing in Pag-IBIG MP2, as well as my own experience in how I registered and applied and deposited my contributions. Alright, so even though I do seem super hyped about investing in MP2, do take note that I'm not saying that it's the perfect investment for everyone. Still take the time to assess your own financial goals so that you can decide for yourself whether it's a form of investment that makes sense for you. Alright, this ain't no financial advice. I am not a professional financial advisor. I am just a random person on the internet who's sharing what she's learned so far. Yeah, we're all learning together. Do your own research. If you're interested in learning more about managing your money or personal finance in general, you can check out these two videos I made before about managing your money and how to start investing, because, you know, baby steps. We good? Alright, let's get started. So, let's get down to the juicy details. What is Pag-IBIG? Pag-IBIG is a government-controlled corporation that primarily exists to provide affordable housing loans to Filipinos. So the income that they get from loaning out the funds, they pay it back to their members as dividends. So before you can get started investing in MP2, you need to be a regular Pag-IBIG member first. It's probably what you guys are most familiar with. First and foremost, all employed Filipinos are required by law to become a Pag-IBIG member. So if you're employed, there's usually a monthly deduction on your salary that goes to your Pag-IBIG contribution. It pays out high dividends per year. So your savings in this fund has a maturity period of 20 years. So after 20 years, or at least when you retire, whichever comes first, the money goes back to you, as well as the interest and the dividends that you earned during that period. This law dictates that the minimum monthly contribution for Filipinos is just 100 pesos. But you're allowed to deposit more if ever you want to. If you're employed, your employer matches the contributions that you make. So let's say you contributed 100 pesos, your employer is also going to match that amount. So instant double contributions. Free money, yo! Free! If ever you're self-employed, an OFW, or a student, you can still apply for this regular savings account at any of the Pag-IBIG branches or even online. If ever there's an emergency, something bad happens, you can actually withdraw your savings. So, I'll flash on the screen the instances in which you're allowed to withdraw your savings in the savings program. Next, after the regular savings program, they have this extra savings program which they call the MP2 or the Modified Pag-IBIG Savings Program. So the Pag-IBIG MP2 Savings Program is Pag-IBIG's initiative to give their members more opportunities to grow their money. The MP2 Savings Program earns higher dividends than the regular savings program, but it's voluntary. Not everyone is required to open one. Unlike the regular savings program that has a maturity period of 20 years, Pag-IBIG MP2 accounts only have a maturity period of 5 years. If ever you're wondering how Pag-IBIG computes their interest, this is the formula I found in several blog posts. But what they do They multiply the dividend rate by the average monthly balance of your account. So add all of the amounts that you deposited for a single year, divide it by 12, then multiply that by the dividend rate. Alright, so now that we got those basic stuff out of the way, let's talk about why you should consider investing in MP2. First, it's government-backed. It's safe. Probably like the safest investment that can give you this much return. While the dividend rates, like the interest that you receive on your investment, do vary based on the performance of the Pag-IBIG fund, like the loans and how much people pay back, you're never going to lose your capital with this investment. The government guarantees that people will get it back, right? It's by law. Second, it's tax-free. You don't gotta pay no taxes here, yo. Tax-free? I'm in, yo. Compare it to stocks or bonds. When you're investing in stocks kasi, you get charged some transaction fees as well as taxes on your buy and sell transactions. And for bonds, there's a withholding tax for the interest that you receive on your investment. Next, you can start with just 500 pesos. 500 pesos, yo. For the regular savings program, there's a minimum monthly contribution. But for the MP2 savings program, you're not required to deposit monthly. It's up to you how much or how often you deposit into the account, as long as each transaction is at least 500 pesos. 500 pesos is so much more attainable for a lot of the Filipinos out there. You can get started, yo. There's also no limit. So you can deposit 100,000, 500,000, 1 million, is up to you. If you got the big money that you want to put in a relatively safe investment, you can do that. And I forgot what number we're at, sorry. There's no limit to how many MP2 accounts you can open. You can open as many MP2 accounts as you want. And you can easily open an MP2 account online. Very convenient, friends. Right, so I wanted to bring this up. I asked you guys on Instagram what questions you had about investing in MP2, and someone brought up the effect of the pandemic on the dividends that you're receiving from the MP2 savings program. Well, sadly, it's already expected that the dividends we're going to receive for the year 2020 will be lower than what we had in 2019, 2018 because of the impact of coronavirus. A lot of people probably lost their jobs and are unable to pay back their loans. So, given that the dividend rates are dependent on the performance of the fund, yeah. But that's looking at it with the short-term perspective. I prefer to look at it for the long term. The economy is eventually going to recover from this crazy madness that's happening, and people are eventually going to be able to pay back their loans once things get better. So if you can hold on and if you're willing to accept and wait for that, then by all means continue investing. There are so many more investments for you to invest in, but this is really the safest form of investment that gives you this much return. Like I said, investing in Pag-IBIG MP2 is not for everyone. It really depends on what you're trying to achieve, what your financial goals are. So yeah, it's really important to evaluate what are you actually saving for, why are you investing, for what purpose, and then base your decisions off of that. You might argue that, I don't want to invest in MP2 because in the stock market there's higher gain potential and stuff like that. While it's definitely true that there is so much more potential gain in the stock market, do note that there's higher risk involved with that. Your capital is not guaranteed as opposed to investing in MP2, where your capital is guaranteed by the government. And there's a lot less volatility if you're someone who doesn't want to ride the volatility of the stock market and you just want some fixed income sources like the MP2, you just sit back and wait for your dividends. Yeah, it's a good option for you. Alright, so let's say you want to invest in MP2. What do you do? Right, so now that we know what Pag-IBIG is, what MP2 is, and reasons why you should invest, action is always the most important thing. Here's how you can get started. First and foremost, before you're even eligible to open an MP2 savings account, you first need to be an active Pag-IBIG member. What that means is that you should be a registered Pag-IBIG member who has made at least one contribution in the last 6 months. If you're already registered, then good job. You can open your MP2 savings account na. But let's say you're a student like me, or like you're not a Pag-IBIG member yet, you can easily register by either going to a physical branch, or even more convenient, you can just apply to become a Pag-IBIG member online. So like I followed this guide, it's by Filipino. It's a blog and it's a very detailed, comprehensive guide. And yeah, I'm not going to tell you guys step by step on what to do. You can just check out the article. I'll link it down below. For you guys who are students, good news, you don't need no IDs to become a Pag-IBIG member. So the only requirement for students is that you're 18 years old and you're able to pay the minimum monthly contribution of 100 pesos. That's it. Very simple. But just to share my experience with how I applied for a Pag-IBIG membership as well as opening an MP2 account. So I followed the steps in the blog post. I applied to become a Pag-IBIG member online. There's like an online portal for you to sign up at. So I did the whole application process. And then I had to send the code with my phone number, right? Your RTN. And then I waited to receive my membership ID. So they're going to text it to you. It took about a week or so until I received my MID, my membership ID. As soon as I received my membership ID, I immediately deposited my first contribution through GCash. And after I did that, I immediately opened an MP2 account on the same day. Diba, the only thing you need to be eligible for an MP2 account is to at least have one contribution in the last 6 months. And given that I contributed at least once na, technically I was already an active Pag-IBIG member. That's it. I didn't go to the branch na because of the situation we're at. I wouldn't risk it either. I emailed their customer service naman and they said that my contributions were able to be reflected in my account. So I took it as a signal na we're good to go. So I personally do recommend investing in the Pag-IBIG MP2 savings program because where else will you find a safe form of investment that gives you that much of a return? And it's also a way for you to force the discipline with the investing because the most important skill for you to master when you're investing or like managing your personal finance is the ability to delay instant gratification. You're saving for the future. You're doing your future self a favor so that the future you, 5-10 years down the line, has a lot of money to enjoy. Given that when you're opening an MP2 account, it's going to be locked up for 5 years. Yeah, force discipline, yo. Just take note that, so whenever you open an MP2 savings account, you have two options. You can either open and receive annual payment, so you receive the payment of your dividends every year, or you can lock it up for that 5 years and only withdraw the dividends and your investment at the end of 5 years. I didn't choose the annual dividend payout because I want my investments to just compound until it gets bigger. If you guys remember, I mentioned in my How to Start Investing video, the most powerful concept in personal finance and investing is the magic of compounding. It's not only your capital that's growing, it's your capital plus interest and interest that keeps working for you. The featured comment for this video is by Lana. Sabi niya, I thought I'm weird for having a home wallet, but here I am. I found another weirdo. That's right, I am a weirdo. Weirdos unite. Woo! Oh my god, it's so dark. I am so yellow already. It's about to rain. It's so dark outside. That's about it for today. You guys can follow me on Instagram. I post stuff there. And you can also like the Facebook page. I have a Facebook page now. Wow. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Bye. Second, we're going to talk about why. Why should you invest in Pag-IBIG MP2? God.